that will be your security or collateral that I will hold in order to do business with you. They break open your house one time, they rape your mother, they rape your father, they rape your brother, they rape your sister, they rape your auntie, they rape your auntie, they rob you of all your jewels, they take your car if you have a license firearm, they take your firearm and they go on with that. And those that are supposed to vote for this bill, for the next year, you all are pleased and it's okay with that. What are they smoking? You cannot come and tell Saieed, well hear this now, Saieed, mass mandatory, here we go, it come to an end. And then you come and tell me, here we go on side. If you go to the supermarket, the grocery, or the malls, you have to wear your mask. Side, if you go to a pharmacy, you have to wear your mask. Side, if you're traveling, you have to wear your mask. If you're in the transportation hub, you have to wear your mask. If you're going to church side, you have to wear your mask. If you're in the school side, you're wearing your mask. If you go to a barber salon, you go to the theater, you're wearing your mask. Which dum-dum in Trinidad and Tobago will go in a theater and buy a popcorn and a juice and sit down and wear a mask? Dance! If every councillor go through their constituency, do video clips like this and send it for us, I'm gonna be so happy just to play it on our program on a Wednesday night. You know why I would be happy? I will be filled with joy in my heart. You know why? Because the councillor is getting off their butts and they are actually going and doing some live video shoots. Real Talk took the initiative to find out suppliers of wheat in the world that National Flour Mill could go to. So now Romano is saying the company is not going to raise any price in the near future. Why? Why? Is it because the S-boss and they realize now that, hey, it is in the public domain that we could go right Mexico and buy flour and wheat? We could go right China and buy wheat? I am about change. And thus far, Real Talk is very effective in Trinidad and Tobago, coming towards making changes for the citizens. Public Utility Minister Marvin Gonzalez have urged the population to appreciate and be grateful for the availability of the utilities. This, as Gonzalez recalled, time in his life when he had to fetch water using a bucket from a nearby river. Gonzalez, I want you to understand something. I want you, Mr. Gonzalez, to understand something. You are being paid thousands of dollars by public utility, by the finance ministry, to govern WASA. Come on. To govern WASA, I want you to understand that you ain't going in no office for no free code. You are being paid. Do not tell me that I, Saieed, have to be grateful for the water I get it. Let me tell you something, Gonzalez. Every 4 months, I have to pay $400 and I get water once a bloody month. So don't come on a media briefing and say, Saieed, you have to be contented. You have to be happy. Marvin, the next best thing for you to do is to resign and get the hell out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host, Saeed. We do want to thank you for joining us tonight. It's Mashup Monday. Remember that, viewers. So, as we start up our program tonight, Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines have stated that he gave no approval to members of the Defense Force to participate in the extradition or the extraction, we should say, of firearm supplier Brent Thomas from Barbados. So, viewers, you are viewing Real Talk with Saieed Ali. We are live on Synergy Network from Monday to Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. with a rerun the next day from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Remember that. Also, Real Talk is giving you 4% on fixed deposit. Now, let me tell you something. Nowhere in Trinidad and Tobago, I can guarantee you that you are not going to get 4% at any financial institution. Remember that, viewers, only at Real Talk you get it. Remember, we have a wide span of business, local and international. It's me that talking to. I'm not no smart man. Let me tell you something, Trinidad and Tobago. If I was a smart man, I would have never been on television for the last 5 years. I would have never made it to the #1 current affairs program in Trinidad and Tobago. I would have never had financial institution running in our country. You know why? Because the kind of system we have for money laundering and thing, they would have cracked me down a long time. And to top it off, me being a Muslim, thank God I have license to do everything that I am doing. And I often show it from time to time. But nevertheless, it's not about me. It's about Fitzgerald Hines and Brent Thomas. Now, Hines stated that he was not involved in the approval of officers from Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force for participating in the said operation. In this regard, he said, the question is futile. Listen to this.
As it pertains to the Brent Thomas ruling, so-called, As Minister of National Security, I was not involved in any form or manner in the approval of officers from the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force for participation in the said operation. In this regard, the question is futile and does not further arise.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Naparima MB Rodney Charles asked, what was the procedure to request foreign military asset? Hines said he would reply when Charles queries his file under the correct standing order. Let's hear back now. Charles added that for foreign military aircraft to enter TNT airspace, approval by the relevant Minister of National Security is required. Hines accused Charles of being pedestrian. So Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to have a video just now. So here it is. I want to let you remember this. Charles added that for foreign military aircraft to enter Trinidad and Tobago airspace, approval by the relevant Minister of National Security is required. All you understand that? So let me go back to COVID-19 now in Trinidad and Tobago, when Dulcie Rodriguez and her team entered into Trinidad and Tobago airspace when no planes or boats were allowed to come into Trinidad and Tobago. All you remember that? What did ministers came out and said? Our Prime Minister came out and said, he ain't know who come on the plane. So if the Prime Minister didn't know who come on the plane, well then Fitzgerald Hines must have had some form of evidence who were coming on the plane from Venezuela to Trinidad when everything was restricted. All understand where I'm coming from? So here it is. However, Hines reiterated that he gave no such authority and that the question is futile. Still he's saying that, you know, but listen to this.
The Minister state what are the standing operating procedures for the engagement of foreign military assets in the pursuit of our policy and our operational plans.
Minister of National Security.
I would be more than happy to provide a fulsome answer if the member would do the right thing, abide by the standing orders, and file the appropriate question, Mr. Speaker.
Naprima, member.
Is the Minister aware that for military aircraft to enter our airspace, approval must come from the Cabinet from the Minister of National Security? Because it's a civil aviation authority, cannot give approval for military aircrafts to enter our airspace.
Minister of National Security.
Why is the member for Naparima being so pedestrian? I did say in answer to the question on notice that I gave no such authority and therefore the question is futile and does not arise. He's now asking me further questions on the same question that I have already answered.
Well then, let me go back in time again to COVID-19. If he didn't give the approval now, well then who gave it for Dulcie Rodriguez and the Venezuelan aircraft to land in Trinidad? When they said they didn't even know who was on the plane. I remember the Prime Minister said so. I can't remember that. I can't then. Well, this is the juggle of memory. This is the juggle of memory. Call her good night.
Mr. Saieed, you're taking so long to answer the phone.
Oh God, you know how to say my thing. But nevertheless, you're live. Go right ahead.
Good night again, Mr. Saieed.
Good night.
I have 2 points. When the police kill them bandits and them, why the parents just come out and say police this and police kill the son and they want to investigate this and investigate that? They should have killed the parents too. They shouldn't have only killed the bandits. And another point, when Coffee was sick, Rowley spent over 5 or 6 million on Coffee, but a little child gets sick with the Sylvie Paul, whatever it may be, with the Zika.
Yes, yes.
That man want to fight. That one was sit down there. That what name Dialsing. He want the people win the court to get thing for the child. He want to go to court for the child not to get nothing. This man have no shame.
Shameless.
This whole PNM people was sit down there. Every one of them have no shame. Absolutely no shame. Yes. Good night, Mr. Said.
Thank you, my dear. Now, viewers, meanwhile, political leader of the National Transformation Alliance, NTA, Gary Griffith, has called for the police officers involved in the Brent Thomas abduction to be suspended and investigated, and that it is impossible that Hines did not know about the Thomas abduction matter. He said, no police officer, including the Commissioner of Police, had the authority to authorize police officers to leave the country. All I hear, Bacchanal? All I hear, Bacchanal, Trinidad and Tobago? Now, keep in mind, Mr. Gary Griffith is a former Commissioner of Police. I want to let you understand that. Probably the most effective Commissioner of Police we had in Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, I could safely say that. I've been around a long time. I could safely say that. So who gave the order for the officers to leave Trinidad? Who gave that order? Somebody must know about it. Officers can't just take up themselves from Trinidad and go Barbados, use the authority there, scramble somebody, put them in a plane and bring them back to Trinidad and nobody know nothing. Well, then those officers need to be what? Fired immediately. They need to be fired immediately. It's sad, you know. It's sad, it's sad. Let me tell you something, eh? These officers need to come out and say who they got authorization from, you know. They need to come out and say that the writing is the writing. The writing must be the writing Trinidad and Tobago. But nevertheless, Hines know nothing about who authorized the plane, but who authorized Dulcie Rodriguez's plane to land in Trinidad while COVID-19 was in effect. No plane, no boat, nobody leave, nobody can come. Who gave that authorization? At least Hines supposed to know what's going on there then. Even if the head of the Security Council for Trinidad and Tobago, the Prime Minister, even he said, I don't know who was on the plane. Imagine that. I remember that. I'll go back in time now, man. That just about a year, 2 years ago. And so quickly you all forget that. Call a good night.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Saeed.
Go right ahead. You're live on Real Talk, my friend.
Mr. Saeed, I believe that those police went on their own and bring that man in Trinidad. I believe they went on their own. Saieed Ali, nobody can stop these police of Trinidad and Tobago. When we talking about Prime Minister, and we talking about Fitzgerald Hines, and we talking about all of them. Them cannot stop this police force. This police force is totally out of hand. Somebody got to do something. Them went by themselves and do the thing on their own. I'm sure about that. Good night.
Thank you, my friend. Well, in a matter like that, if they acted on their own and the judge made a ruling in the case, well, then the judge holds enough power to call on the president to command TGPS. Remember, the president holds the largest amount of power in the land. Eh? Remember that. So if that is the case, the judge have authorization and have the willpower to command dismissal of those officers and charge them now for kidnapping. See how easy it is? See how easy it is? So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit more of the property tax that will generate $198 million after this break.
Do you have a public concern you would like to highlight? You can email your pictures and videos to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com, and we will highlight your concerns on our show for Public Concerns Wednesday.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtalk Report Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Realtalk Report Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
So, Minister of Finance Coleman would have stated that 4 local government bodies in Trinidad could collect up to $198 million in property tax a year when all properties in those corporations have been valued using the annual rental valuation methodology. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, Imber stated that based on properties that have already been registered, the Regional Corporation of Cuba Tabakit Talparo will be the recipient of $44 million. The Regional Corporation of Pinal Debe will get $35 million a year, Tinopona Piaco will receive $67 million a year, and the Borough of Chaguanas is estimated to get $52 million from property tax. Listen to this.
And based on this, based on the properties that have registered and so on, I can say that the Regional Corporation of Cuba Tabakit Talparo, when all residential properties have been valued, will be in receipt of $44 million. $44 million. The Regional Corporation of Pinal Debe, Mr. Deputy Speaker? Right. The Regional Corporation of Pinal Debe, when all properties in that region have been valued and taxes paid, will get $35 million a year. The Regional Corporation of Tunapuna Piaco, being one of the more populated corporations, will get $67 million a year. The Borough of Chaguanas is estimated to get $52 million from property tax. And you see, Mr. Deputy Speaker, they do speak out of two sides of their mouth. As I give the numbers, which put pay to the untruth that it's only $3 million, and they hear that the Borough of Chaguanas is in line to get $52 million if they do their work, because the corporations have to go and collect this tax.
So I am asking Colin Imbert, why exempt those who have multi-story dwellings apartment? Why did they get exempted? This is my question. You see, if property tax were to be collected by those homeowners, I am definitely sure, definitely sure, some of the figures that are here quoted in million could well exceed that amount. Chaguanas collecting $52 million from property tax. I am definitely sure that they could exceed $52 million. So why did Colin Imbert now exempt these multi-story dwelling apartment buildings from paying taxes? Why? Why, Colin? Because it is alleged that you own one? It is alleged that you own one? Is that the reason why? I remember when he said about a year, 2 years back, he said, even him might get exempted from tax later on. I remember when he said that. Caller, good night.
Good night. You hit, this is the imitation vaccine vagrant thing. You hit the nail on the head. They're making laws for they to benefit. You have a multi-story dwelling somewhere in Port of Spain. Remember, you passed a law exempting them to pay stamp duty and things like that? They're doing things for themselves. But what I call you for, Saeed, I listened to that press conference Sunday, boy. I was in Makalu and I put it down.
Yes.
I was so embarrassed with the senior superintendent, Aline. They asked her a question, how much people was in the heliport? Illegal immigrants.
Hey, you know that's
how she answered it.
Caller, that's a serious matter going on, you know.
Yeah, but listen to this. She said 3 men, no children.
Yeah.
And approximately 35 women. So what I tell you, the lead investigator doesn't have a clue about how much people inside are living and going. She is a real disaster. Come to answer that. Now the other thing I hear, they get back the Galilee, somewhere in Belmont, and the whole
yeah.
But you know I want to find out. Remember there was one in El Socorro police lost one too.
Correct.
You ever get back that one?
Nah.
They pay 75. There was a reward for $75,000 to get back this one, and there was 100,000 to get back that one. So I want to know, because you know what that tells me? All this thing about Fitzy, bumping the gum, they're not monitoring state assets properly, and the security force have to answer. All of them imitation police. When they do all the mischievous action, it's high-powered rifle they have, you know, and they say in imitation police. It could be re-police. And the fact that they're going for high-powered rifle to use it, and they probably have ammunition for it too. Remember, the police still have to fight back that ammunition they take from the man in Chigonas there.
Hey, yeah.
So there are ammunition out there, and there are no machine to use it. So that's what they're doing. So I shame on the police. I go and have a nice night.
Thank you, my friend. State and property tax. Imbert said the money the regional corporation will collect is not chicken feed or peanut, but the substantial revenue stream that local government bodies will use to provide service, such as drain cleaning, among many others. Listen to Imbert.
So it is not chickpeas, it is not peanuts, it is not a trivial sum of money. It is a substantial revenue stream, Mr. Deputy Speaker. A substantial revenue stream. Mr. Deputy Speaker, they speak out of both sides of their mouth. They want more and more and more. Every time we come in a standing finance committee, they want more. More money for this corporation, more money for that corporation, more for roads, more for drains, more for garbage collection, more for water trucking. They want more and more and more and more for each one of their corporations. But they don't want a revenue stream for all of that expenditure and all those services. As I have said before, if we are going to improve the level of service in corporations, proper garbage collection, corporations will have an income stream to fix roads, to clean drains. What are they going to use to procure those services? Are they going to procure them with Jumbie beads? Obviously, they have to use Trinidad and Tobago dollars. Obviously.
I wonder how come he didn't quote it in US or pounds. How come? He talk about they need money to fix road. What about contractors getting hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix road, and when you pass on the road, you swear to God you're in my ROC or Maracas? Why don't he talk about that? The minister added that in order to generate the sum of money he outlined, the regional corporation will have to do their work of collecting the tax from property owners in their district. He also stated that the tax is collected, kept, and spent by the corporation. Imbert further noted that if the borough of Chaguanas did its work, they would collect their money. Listen to this.
This is local at the purest level. The tax is collected by the corporations, retained by the corporations, and spent by the corporations. So if the borough of Chaguanas does its work and it ensures that all the residential properties in that borough are valued, then they are in line to collect $52 million a year. And as I said that, the member for Barataria said, make sure they get it, eh? Mr. Deputy Speaker, it just shows they don't understand. The tax is collected by the corporation itself. It is not coming from the central government. It is a purely local exercise. It is not a question of the government giving the corporations the $50 million or the $40 million. It is the corporations themselves doing the work to value, make sure properties are valued, and collect them.
Imbert said the corporation do not understand. Or the opposite side do not understand. What I don't understand and what Trinidad and Tobago don't understand is why it is those multi-story dwelling apartment buildings are not paying tax. Why only residential for now? Why not those who own their big multi-story? That is a property to Imbert. Oh, but then I forgot you said you might benefit from it later on. So all your no property tax was coming. So all you put all your thing in place to fix all yourself and then would everybody know with property tax while you all got exempted. Correct, Trinidad and Tobago? Call a good night. Hello?
Yeah, good night, Saeed.
Go right ahead, you're live, my friend.
Right. First thing, another report, another channel just said they did not find the rifle as yet. Right? The second thing is, Saeed, I'm willing to take a bet that this talk about the corporations getting so much more money will never happen.
Correct, I believe that one.
Let me tell you why. Chaguanas Corporation, he just saying, will get $48 million more. Here what will happen? The Ministry of Finance will give them $48 million less in the budgetary allocation.
Correct.
And tell them collect it from property tax.
Well said.
So they will never get any extra money. So all these corporations who think that they are going to get extra money, and all this talk from the PNM that there will be extra money for the corporation is going to be a lie. I could bet you they will get no extra money because central government would withhold money from the national budget for the local government.
Well said.
Spent on their contractors and their friends and payroll, $80,000 a month, pension and so on. That is what will happen. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Well said. You have a point there. So keep this in mind, viewers. The Theanti Chambers of Industry and Commerce has stated that it is concerned with the timing of the implementation of the property tax on citizens and its financial impact. The Chamber said that while it understands the need for the implementation of property tax, consumers have already been hit by increase in cost, and to institute an additional tax would make it difficult for homeowners to meet their existing commitments. The Chamber added that it understands that the revenue generated from the property tax is a necessity to pay for service and operation of the local government bodies, and hopes that it is executed based on the criteria laid out for changes to be applied or charges to be applied to properties. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, we understand this. We understand this. But what I keep saying is that you're talking about corporation getting millions of dollars. Homeowners will be paying for this. We understand that. But call him Imbert. Let me tell you something. Those multi-story dwelling apartment buildings, they generate thousands of dollars per month. And they are exempted from paying. They are exempted, totally exempted. Why? One man will put up a 50-story, or let me get so high, let me make it into a hotel. They will put up a 20-bedroom apartment. Let's just say that. Right? A 20-bedroom apartment. One man. While it takes a husband and a wife to come together to take $1 million mortgage for 30 years. 30 years or 50 years. And on top of that now, they have to pay property tax at the end of every 12 months or at the end of every 30 days. While these multi-story dwelling apartment buildings, they got exempted. Trinidad and Tobago, understand where I'm coming from. You, the residential homeowner, have to pay a tax. Your home is owned by the bank. Or your home is owned between husband and wife come together. But this multi-story, when they generate thousands of dollars at the end of the month, they are tax-free. This is what I am getting at. They are tax-free. Let me tell you something. If one homeowner has to pay tax, it is good for all the homeowners throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Who vexed Lawson, but I'm serious. You see, Colin and Bert realized that this multi-story dwelling apartment, they will generate a huge income. It is alleged that he has one. It is alleged. So he's been exempted from paying property tax, while Saieed, who has his 3- and 4-bedroom house, have to pay property tax. And that is what you call Trinidad and Tobago, your minister working for you. Will I eat cattle down? Will I drink dotish juice? Or will I eat foolish pineapple? Which one? Open all your brains. Open your ears. Listen to what I am saying. You, as a homeowner, whether you be an industrial homeowner or a residential homeowner, you have to pay property tax at the end of 30 days. Those who own the multi-story apartment building, they are exempted. Why? Why are they exempted? It's not, how they call that? How they call that? And that is a lot of apartments who we as citizens who rent in that will call it home. They are exempted while you pay the brunt. So if you don't understand that, well then you drink dotish juice. Call a good night.
Good night, sir. That is 100% correct, sir. You see, the problem is when they calculate this property tax, isn't it calculated on the annual rental value?
Yes.
But why don't the government pay these residential rent? And then we'll pay them tax from it. But what about Column Imbat now? Column Imbat has big, how much story, how much apartments, isn't that is actually collecting rent? So how on earth now that would be exempt? You see these kind of things, sir? Now, they always say the vulnerable will not be paying property tax. Who are the vulnerable?
Correct.
Who are the vulnerable? The vulnerable in the society are their supporters. The vulnerable, the majority, what you call vulnerable, are their supporters. So you see, this government is a discriminatory and unfair government, sir. You see, now why don't you go after the HDC owners? Who's owing billions of dollars? Why don't you go after them to collect the money? Now, what about previous government? Previous government had our road in top shape, our drain in top shape. We never had this kind of flooding, and there was no property tax. There was no property tax. So if they cannot run this country, why don't they limit and concern this issue about observers? I am saying we must have international observer because in the first place, the Prime Minister did not want local election. When he was forced by the Privy Council, then he called election. Now you say no observer. But there is something sinister about this, sir. The citizen, all we want is fair play. All we want is fair play. Now, election matters cannot go to the Privy Council by the general election. It stops at appeal court, and I don't know, but I don't know if it is contaminated or whatever, or it has political influence or whatever. But we must not allow that. Let us have the observer. Now you're coming and talk about Basel, Pande, and the airport. The airport, which is the best in this part of the world. PNM spent so much money, there was no airport. Why don't they publish? He was quoting the Express newspaper that they are not publishing it enough. Why they don't publish the Malcolm Jones report? Where $12 billion went under. Why is it they don't publish the fake oil? And all these things. You see, this man, something is wrong, and I'm calling on the citizens. I am calling on the citizens. Do not allow crumbs. Look at the way you was living under the previous government, and look how you are living now, and make a decision. Don't vote. I don't know what is it about this man that everybody seems to afraid him. Why can't the reporters, sir? Why can't the reporters question him? Well, you was insisting, you wrote for observers when you was in opposition. Now you are against it. You see, every man, you know, the pop dimes. So it is time that people smell the coffee, get this government out of power. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, my friend. So here it is. Opposition Senator Damian Lidder has stated that implementation of property tax will increase the cost of business. He accused the government of making it harder for persons to do business by increasing tax. Listen to this.
But instead of fostering an environment that is conducive to growth, to businesses, this PNM government has continued to burden not only the citizens, but businesses with more and more taxes, more and more cost. And it is disheartening to see this when we see a government that does not deliver on the goods and services to the people and to the citizens of this country. It was Saddam Hussein last week who was fighting for you in the parliament, who said, when he was debating the bill, he pointed out, why should citizens and businesses be expected to pay property tax when the government has failed to deliver on the basic goods and services in this country? When we see the level of flooding, when we see the decay of the infrastructure in this country, when we see a runaway crime problem, we ask, how can the government at this time have the belly to come and implement property tax now? Wicked.
So Trinidad and Tobago, the senator also noted that the government has no sympathy for business who employ thousands of citizens. Listen to this.
We cannot say no to property tax at this time, not when we are still suffering from the effects of the COVID pandemic, not when we see more than 6,000 businesses shutting their doors as a result of this wicked, callous government and their draconian measures during the pandemic. And we call on the government today, you must scrap the tax. Scrap the tax. Scrap the tax.
So Trinidad and Tobago, remember when the government said there was a penalty fee for those of you who do not pay property tax? You were being bullied into paying property tax. All I remember, the Privy Council ruled against the PNM administration for wanting to extend the year of the councillors and aldermen presently. They tried to take away your votes. They tried to take away your voice. They tried to take away your rights, and you didn't even know that. You didn't even know that. And then on top of that now, if you ain't pay property tax or you ain't registered to pay property tax, there's a penalty fee. How many of you ran to register? So they take away your rights here to vote, and then they bully you now by a penalty into paying property tax. What did I say? Carry me to court. Carry me to up to now. I ain't get no letter to go to court. Up to now, and I said it bold and brave, I ain't paying none. When Colin Imbert brings back a law or an amendment for those who have the multi-story dwelling apartment, the exemption he gave to them, I want you to revoke that exemption, and then Saieed Ali will pay property tax. Because what good for one homeowner in tax, good for the rest. Fear is fear. So we are going for a short commercial break, viewers, but when we come back, we're going to hear from the Prime Minister who says, vote PNM for local government reform after this.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtalk Report Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Realtalk Report Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Do you have a public concern you would like to highlight? You can email your pictures and videos to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com, and we will highlight your concerns on our show for Public Concerns Wednesday.
So Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has urged voters to come out to vote for the PNM in the upcoming local government election to show support for local government reform. Hey, this is the same person who told earlier. Oh, I make a mistake. This is the same organization that when the Privy Council told them, what you are doing is illegal, by extending the year of the alderman and councillors. This is the same man who is telling you to come out and show support for PNM local government reform. But this is the same body of people that went to court to take away your rights from voting. Now they're telling others to come out and show support. Let me tell you something. I doubt I so stupid one time. I so stupid one time. Like I always say, I don't bash party. You know, I'm not for no party. I'm not for no party. But you see foolishness in high place? Foolishness when you have a portfolio to carry on? That is where let's be on a different side. So here is Prime Minister stated that while the UNC had won Sandy Grande Regional Corporation in the last local election, the corporation could not carry out similar duties, and opposition councillor now blamed the government for clogged drains. But if they may gain no money from finance minister, who's the finance minister? Oh, wait a minute. And this Colin Imbert? Isn't that the same Colin Imbert who said to exempt multi-story dwelling apartment owners? Who are to pay property tax now? All the citizens. All the citizens. I'm not paying none. I'm not paying none until Colin revoke that amendment and legislation he placed there. Because why? He said even though we put that, I might benefit later on. Who benefiting now? You know, not you. Colin Imbert benefiting while you paying. So how you balling now? That is a minister working for you? No. That is a minister putting things in place for you to dig deeper in your pocket. I want to tell you something. When you dig deeper down in your pocket, it's not about PNM or UNC, you know. It's your $100 being cut from getting 4 items to 2 items. Let me tell you something. Don't be idiots. Don't be clowns. Don't drink stupid and dotage juice. Listen to this.
If you don't agree that local government reform is worthwhile and worthy of your vote, and you vote for the UNC, that means you are saying that you want it to remain the way it is. So that a corporation like Sangre Grande, after election, one of the biggest parts of the campaign last local government election was in Grande. Big crowd, big set, big this, big that, results, UNC win, PNM get two, good. After election day, people in Sangre Grande can't use the playing field because they can't cut the grass for the youngsters to play football on the field. They can't maintain a window in a building. You can't call them for a drain to be cleaned. You can't call, while they do the every time they see rain set up, because it's going to have flood. And you can accuse the government of not cleaning drains. Right? Minister of Works didn't clean drains. No matter how big your drain is, if the downpour is sufficiently large and sufficiently long, it's going to overcome the drain.
Keep in mind, I would be geologist for Trinidad and Tobago. Eh? Keep that in mind. He also advocates for local government reform under the PNM and PNM supporters to campaign quietly rather than to expect any big PNM rallies. Listen to this.
The vote is important. This year, we have a clear issue as to why you should vote. Local government turnout is normally low because people are not interested in what they call local politics like that. But this year, local government elections should attract your attention because the singular issue of whether local government reform would be proceeded with is in front of you. You vote yes for the PNM and you get it. You vote no, that means you're voting for the UNC. So it's crystal clear. We are going to campaign. We're going to knock on your door to remind you, and I'm saying to you here, the PNM, don't look for any big set of meetings. Don't look for any set of noise. Put on your red jersey, follow your candidate, walk the streets, knock on the doors, tell them why, and it is about local government reform.
Hey, let me tell you something. I love our Prime Minister, you know. I love our Prime Minister, you know. Whether the man right or wrong, the man bold, you know. He bold in your face. Whether you like it or not, the man bold in your face. Put on your PNM jersey and support us. What did Privy Council say they did? All I can remind me? All I remind me now? What they did was illegal. All clap all your hand now, nah? Well, they clap all your hand. Property tax come and I go see how my hand all go clap. When you used to get 4 items for your 100 and you belong to 2 now, I want you to say, great as the minister that working for we. When you start to eat boulders, I go start giving to all you by the truckload. I just always say, me for no party, you know. But I for betterment for the country, you know. But when you have a portfolio, and you're dedicated to a portfolio, and the people are getting service, that is a different thing. That is a different thing. Call a good night.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Said.
Go right ahead, you're live.
Okay, Mr. Said, last time on your show, Mr. Said, the column in both say that Tunapuna Piaco Regional Corporation would get $67 million. I want them to bear in mind that Twin City Mall is within the Tunapuna Piaco Regional Corporation. Higher to Twin City Mall, there is another big building there by the roundabout. After that building, Republic Bank. After Republic Bank, another big mall that is built by the main road. How could he adjust that money and tell me about 67 million? Is it including those buildings or is it not including those buildings? Say here why telling you. This government is telling people about local government reform. If the workers of local government, workers section in the government does not vote against local government reform, all of them will be sent home. All of them will be sent home. And I am pleading to the people of the working community that they should vote against local government reform, because local government reform is going to send them home and bring in the PNM
bullying party and friends.
Thank you, my friend. So here it is, the PM further listed many things that could be done by local government reform cooperation, including fixing the road, maintaining schools, and more.
Do you want a corporation that could kill the rats and the mosquitoes? Do you want a corporation that will have the revenue stream to be able to fix the roads and keep them fixed, them counting potholes? But how do you fix potholes or prevent potholes? You need to have the resources at the local level. You want your farmers to have agricultural access roads, you want your schools to be maintained, and you want programs in your districts which you don't now have. Local government reform. Go out there and offer local government reform and ask the people to support it. The time for local government reform is now.
Well said, Prime Minister, well said. But also keep in mind, although went to the Privy Council to try and prevent the people from voting. Keep that in mind also. Trinidad and Tobago, keep that in mind. Rural Development and Local Government Minister Saieed Ali have stated that government commitment to local government is reflected by a $2.7 billion allocation towards it in 2020-2023. I'll listen to this.
In our national budget, in October last year, we got $2.7 billion, of which $429 million was to spend in projects, drains, roads, buildings, markets, streets, abattoirs. You'll remember a little while ago that the noise was, let's have more money for local government. Well, in fact, the city of San Fernando, in 2021, the allocation, the actual, was $11.5 million for the city of San Fernando. This year, it's $40 million.
Viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going down by airport to see some bad road.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Realtalk Report Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Realtalk Report Companies and Licensed Moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Do you have a public concern you would like to highlight? You can email your pictures and videos to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com, and we will highlight your concerns on our show for Public Concerns Wednesday.
So Trinidad and Tobago, earlier this morning, residents of GP Road and Reach Road in Barapur blocked the road in protest over its poor condition. They are calling on government to repair the road now. So look at this down in Barapur. The Prime Minister is saying, and the Finance Minister is saying, when they collect property tax, they're going to fix the road. This is what they are saying now. All the money that have been allocated for road projects throughout the last 7 years, how many roads have been fixed? Barapur have been crying out for years for proper infrastructure. And this is what they are facing today. No other choice but to block the road. No other choice. None. So do you blame them? No, they have to get the attention of the government by some form of some protest or some way. They need to get it. Your prime minister is telling you, vote for local government reform. Colin Members is saying, pay property tax. But all the multi-story dwelling apartment building, they got exempted, eh? They got exempted. And I believe Colin fall in that same bracket. They got exempted. So all the money that they have been allocating over the years, where did it go? Contractors are getting hundreds of millions of dollars to fix road. And it's like, when they don't fix the road, you swear to God you're in a boat in the ocean. That I mean, you're in a luxury vehicle and you're going like this. They're supposed to reduce gas every month. As the gas price dip, they're supposed to reassess and bring a new price every month. Are you all getting that? No, you're not getting that. Privy Council tell the present administration, all they're doing illegal things. Ooh. They try to take away your vote, but today they're telling you, support the PNM. Support local government reform. While you have to pay more money, they getting exempted. While you're $100 buying 4 items, it down to 2 items. What they do? They got an additional to their salary. So all of what they say, Saieed bashing. Saieed, you don't like PNM? Let me tell you something. I love all the ministers of our country, especially our prime minister. You know why? Because he's bold and he's brave. So whether you like it or not, he's sending it down your throat. And you can't do nothing about it. You just can't. You was bullied to register your property for evaluation and property tax. Why? If you don't do that, you have a penalty to pay. Really? I take 40 years, 50 years to pay for my house, and you now to come to tell me in my face that if I don't pay property tax, I will pay a penalty. Where the hell was you when I was taking a loan? Where were you? Everybody getting exempted and I have a penalty? All I drink chupa juice? Eh? All I drink chupa juice? While Embert and the clan getting exempted with the multi-story they have, I get a penalty on me because I refuse to pay it? Are we that done, see? Come on, Trinidad to make open my eye. Open your eyes. That is why I said, bold and brave, I'm not paying none. Carry me to court. You know who will meet me in court? You want to know who will meet me in court? Colin Members going to meet me in court. You know why? How come you exempted and I have to pay? How come you exempted and I have to pay? How come all these multi-story duplex owning apartment building, how come they exempted and I have to pay? The magistrate and all would want to know, but how you exempted? You have a multi-story 20, 30 apartment building. You get exempted and I have a 3-bedroom and I have to pay? Like donkey crap. So when that law or that amendment or that legislation is revoked, then I will pay. I have no problem paying. But you have to pay too. And that's just how bold I am. All the Prime Minister are bold, well let me and he on the same ship. Because both of us are trained Begonians. The only thing with he is that he's the Prime Minister, he went up to lead. He went up to serve. He's serving you. Open your eye. Open your eye. I understand you like PNM. I understand you will die PNM. But you have to be damn stupid to see them getting exempted while you had to pay. Are I thinking right here? That's why when I come here, hey, let me tell you something now. I just thank God I just thank God for the last 5 years. Me had to beg for hard, you know. Otherwise, the first month I would have been out of the TV station thing. But it's 5 years now we're running. We're standing strong. We become #1 in current affairs. And we're here for the next 100 years. So if you guys just remember, Real Talk is giving you 4% on fixed deposit. Remember that. You see how to pay property tax at the end of the year now? You need what you need? You need extra money. So 4% on the savings money that you put away in the bank and you ain't getting nothing. Bring it to Real Talk. Bring it to Real Talk. Just flash your numbers on screen there, Director. Numbers. So viewers, this is the numbers on our office at Central and Shogunas. Call us between 8:30 and 4 p.m. to set up an appointment to get 4%. Because at the end of 12 months, you will need extra money. And where you going to get it from? You will get it from money that you put away. And that will save you. Come back to me. So viewers, we are out of time for tonight, but nevertheless, it's my pleasure to be here every night to serve you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So until we meet again, lie down on your bed and think about what you want to be, an idiot, a clown, or a well-educated individual. Until we meet again. Oh, there's a run of this program tomorrow from 11:30 to 12:30. Until we meet again. Good night.